Test, test, test. Hi everybody, welcome. We're so glad you're here. Hopefully food will be here shortly. I apologize that it's a little later than normal. If you haven't signed in yet, please follow the QR code on the screen or the QR code on your agenda today. Thanks so much. We'll get started here shortly.
For those of you who are expecting snappy tomato pizza, you're pleasantly surprised by the generosity of the Hosea House who brought Chick-fil-A. So a round of applause for Hosea House. There will be some pizza in case if we run out of Chick-fil-A, so never fear.
I'm going to go get a lunch.
Yeah. If you haven't signed in already, please use the QR code on the screen or on your agenda.
but I just don't know all of the particulars on that. I'll study up on that also. Because we now have, I think we have 89 schools that have it. Good, good. I went through a sources of strength. Hi, how are you?
I'm Trevor.
Terry, what's your title? Community liaison. And how do I say your last name? Frazier. Okay. Where's my sheet at? No, it's too much. Yes. Okay. Live around there for the sushi. Okay. Let me get some plates. It's not. I've got to go. Okay. You get some plates. Yes. Thanks.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the March, I had to think of what month it is, March Safety Net Alliance meeting. So what we normally do is everybody pretty much has lunch, and if you did not get lunch, there will be pizza coming. So when it gets here, feel free to get up and grab your lunch. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to find out if there are any first-time attendees. If you are here for the first time, please raise your hand. We'll bring the microphone to you. You can introduce yourself and the agency that you're with.
Linda, I'll start back here. I'll
Okay.
work up towards you. We'll tag team it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Savannah Buck. I'm the Programs and Services Coordinator at Be Concerned, so I work with Andy, who many of you, if not all of you, probably already know.
Savannah's awesome.
My name is Katie Thornberry. I'm a Service Coordinator with the Welcome House.
I'm Cassandra. I'm also a Service Coordinator with the Welcome House.
Awesome.
My name is Ebony Brandy. I'm the Director of Economic Development at NKCAC.
Welcome.
I'm Jillian Connolly. I'm a connector at Lincoln Grant Scholar House in Covington.
I'm Felicia Ford. I'm a police social worker with Campbell County.
I'm Kayla Sewell. I'm with Isaiah House.
Perfect. We'll go here and then I'll turn around.
Hi, I'm Sharice Laurier, and I'm with the Kentucky Refugees Ministries in Covington.
Hi, my name's Jamie Collins. I'm the Daytime Navigation Coordinator at Emergency Shelter Northern Kentucky.
Hi, I'm Shauna Kennedy, and I work for North Key Community Care, and I am a peer support specialist.
Hi, I'm Rachel Elkins. I'm with Adult Protective Services.
Hi, I'm Emily Oler. I'm with the Northern Kentucky Health Department.
Hi, my name is Jenny, and I'm a student at Gateway, Human Services and Addiction student at Gateway.
Anyone else?
Anybody else?
Linda, that was a lightning round.
It was. Okay, well, welcome. We're so glad that you joined us and hope that you find the information and the networking beneficial and come back to the next meeting. So now we will run through committee reports. Aaron, do you want to do executive committee?
Sure. I'll start with the executive committee. Welcome to all the new people. It's so encouraging when we have so many new people here. We hope you find it beneficial to the work that you do every day. And One of the things we really hope is that you make some friends here. What we've learned is relationships are often the key when it comes to our safety net. The more people you know, the more people you feel confident picking up the phone and being able to call from another organization, the more successful you can be and the easier we can make it on our end users. So really put that time in when you're here. Don't be hesitant to introduce yourself to somebody, ask for their business card, because that's what we want to create. The executive committee, our job is to set the strategic direction for the organization, to govern the organization, and to work on critical projects for the organization. A few things that we have going right now is we did finish our rewrite of our bylaws. We will be voting on those next month. So we'll just need a majority vote of those present. We'll send those out in the email with the minutes so that you can review those. They're pretty basic, but we haven't actually had bylaws in the past. So they govern how we make decisions, who can make decisions, and what we're supposed to do in our governance of the organization. So they're a big deal. We're excited to have them. We put a lot of work into them. So please review them and come ready to vote at the next meeting. Other things that we're working on, we're continuing with the revamp of the website. We believe it can be much, much more useful to all of you and to people that need critical care. So we are actively working on that. We've updated. We're starting to put events on there. So there is an events page now. So if you have something coming up that you want other people that work in the arena to know about, please send those events to Jemiah. You can send those to jcannon@faithcommunitypharmacy.org just send it to that one because I don't remember her other email addresses. jcannon@faithcommunitypharmacy.org. She'll get those. She'll add them to our event page. And it's a resource for everybody here. So if you're wondering what's going on in the community, stop by the Safety Net website and check out the events that are coming up. The other thing that we're really working hard on is we believe, really at a foundational level, we believe it's really hard to be poor, right? Would everybody agree with that? That those people that we serve, it's difficult. It's not just difficult to get through daily life, it's difficult to get services. It's difficult to figure out who I need to call. It's difficult to set up appointments and go between different places. All those things are challenges. And we believe that that should really be our challenge to take on. As leaders in the industry, we should figure out ways to simplify that. And at the Safety Net, we want to create a community where we all work so closely together that the burden on the end user reduces. So we are getting ready to start a pilot program. Many of you may know, some of you may not. The United Way has created a new 211 system. It's not even out yet. And what this 211 system does is it actually works as a CRM, which you wouldn't have to replace your own CRM. It has API keys that can funnel. But we're working on a number of things with service integration where we're creating a universal intake so that all of our agencies could use this universal intake. It could identify the needs that the person has, and then we'll actually be able to share not just information, but some documentation between agencies. It would require an MOU, it would require a bunch of things, but we have 6 agencies, maybe 7, that are ready to start a pilot of this. And the dream is that somebody comes to my organization, Faith Community Pharmacy. They sit down with Becky, our program director. She goes through the universal intake form. She identifies that they need services from St. Vincent de Paul, Be Concerned, and the Welcome House. We are able to send those referrals through this system along with data that she has approved for us to share. So that might be proof of income, proof of address, proof of identity. And then she doesn't have to go through that whole thing again. That then it's on them to reach out to her and schedule. And so I think all of you can imagine how much easier that would be for the end user. It also takes a lot off your plate because inside this system, we'll be able to see, did Be Concerned follow up? Did she get the care that she needed from Beacon? And we can track all of that. We're also working within this system to see if we can keep regular updates on what resources are available at what places. We all know that there's certain resources that run out, right? Like sometimes you have rental assistance from here, sometimes they run out. So we would like to be able to utilize this system so that as you're sitting across from somebody that needs care, instead of what happens now, which is often, maybe if you're great, you don't do this. But what we know often happens now is here's a list of 5 places for you to call, right? Like that's what happens because we're all limited. If you're really good, you like actually call those places with that person, which is really good. What we want to advance into is, I know St. Vincent de Paul has funds available right now. I'm going to send them a referral for you. Somebody's going to be following up. Does that make sense? So we're really excited about it, and the best part about it is it's free. We don't have to pay anything for it. The United Way is already paying for it. So we're working through data security with them. We're working through MOUs and what contracts we have to sign. We'll be running this pilot for about 6 months. We're looking at potentially hiring somebody on at the safety net that's going to take this on and champion it in the community. And as long as that 6 months trial goes well, we'd love to get as many organizations as we can onto this system because we truly believe it can be transformative for people in need in Northern Kentucky. I look at police social workers and I think of you as like perfect. You can do this on your phone while you're out with people and send the referrals out right while you're there. So a lot of advantages. We're excited about it. We'll keep you up to date as it goes. And I might have just stole thunder from some of the other committees, but I'm on the executive committee, so I get to do that.
Alrighty, is there anybody from External Relations who would like to give an update?
Relations and Advocacy Committee is going to be meeting next Tuesday, the 25th. That meeting is set for 2 p.m. at Be Concerned in our boardroom. Out of a request from the group, we know it's hard to be at meetings. Some people are tied to other things where they can't leave the office. I am going to try. I stink with technology, but we will have a Teams option for this, for the External Relations meeting. We do have the Safety Net, or the Safety Net Facebook page crafted. Jemiah, thank you for the logo. And then within there, we're figuring out how to put those elected officials' resources. So we promised you guys in March a list of our elected officials so you guys know who to reach out to. If Kim was here, she'd be able to explain it with me. There's a number of House bills that have been going through the state where we really needed advocacy from some of our executive directors. And then what we have to define is the difference between lobbying and advocacy. And the goal with the External Relations Committee, as people have asked, is we are not asking you guys to like steer votes. We are not telling you guys what to think. The goal of this group is to put out the facts of what's going on with the bills for you to make informed decisions of whether it's something you and your agency support or not. So we are not going to see the safety net as telling you guys this is good or this is bad. We are going to put the resources out for you guys to kind of make those informed decisions. So we are not lobbying, has been one of the questions. It is not a lobbying group. With that, you guys should get an alert. There'll be an alert that comes out with the link to the Facebook page, and then at future meetings, we'll have it on a QR code on a separate sheet for anyone who wants to join the Facebook page to please join it. And then hopefully that's where we will start to put more and more stuff that's going on. For example, Sarah from Welcome House put on the article about affordable housing and some changes going on in Newport with income-aligned housing. But those kind of news stories are what we want. And within that Facebook page is going to be your list of elected officials and how you reach out to them. And there is some really good technology where we don't have to update that. It actually tracks in real time. So there'll be like 3 or 4 different websites attached to the Facebook page on the resource link that will tell you guys who your legislator is, who your elected officials are, all the way down to the county level of who like the coroner is in your neighborhood if you ever need like a county burial for a client. So we are trying to keep it from county up to, well, we're not going to do city level. We are going to do county up to state. We are hoping that people do know who their city elected officials are, and that's the one thing that doesn't have the greatest resource in real time is our city elected officials. That's where we stand. Teams meeting March 25th, 2 o'clock. If people want to come in person, we'll be in the boardroom, and we will rock and roll with hopefully getting the QR code made and then the mass email out to everybody to join the page. That's what I got.
Okay, thanks. Service integration. Anybody want to give an update from service integration?
From what I know. Next month, so Service Integration has been working hard on this project with United Way. They've also been working hard on the universal intake form. Next month's meeting, they're going to come and present the template for the universal intake form, and it will be a lot of roundtable feedback to ensure what we have on there is what we need. We don't want to go live with something that doesn't work. So please be here. This is a unique tool that I think will be extremely helpful for all of us. And let me tell you where I think it'll be most helpful. I am lucky enough to be the chairperson of the SafeNet Alliance. I guarantee there are people in this room that work for organizations that I'm not sure what you do, right? I'm not sure, and I'm sure everybody here has this. If we can create this universal intake form that then has traffic routers that say, here's where you need to go with this, think of what that does to all of us in this room when we sit across from somebody. We can only recommend what we know about. And if we don't know, we can't recommend it. If we create technology that ensures that all of us know about it, think of how better connected our people can be. So please plan on being here next month. Please come prepared with what questions your organization needs when you do intake. Come prepared with here's what our organization offers so that we can really get this robust and great right off the ground.
Thank you.
I'm sorry? That is the third Wednesday of next month, which I believe is April 16th? April 16th, yes. Member engagement.
I can do member engagement. So you see the coffee cups and the notebooks that you got at the door. That was part of the things that member engagement has been working on. We wanted to have everybody get something that has safety net on it to keep it in mind whenever you are looking for resources to think about the Safety Net Alliance. We're also we lay out the theme for the meetings each month, and then get the guest speakers. And what else? Well, we're also working on Safety Net 101, and we are meeting next Wednesday at 10 o'clock. And we meet via Teams.
And we would love some more people on that team. We would really be able to use it. That SNA 101 is for new people that come. So you saw how many new people came today? You're getting a brief introduction to everything that we do, but wouldn't it be nice when you came in that said, hey, here's what the safety net does, here's some resources, here's your role, here's all that stuff. So that's what they're working on with SNA 101. We don't have community impact here, but I'll speak to what they're doing too. Yes, ma'am? I can do it. Oh, great, that makes me even happier.
Do you mean you can give the update, or you can be on the member engagement team?
I can do both if need be, but I'm already on 2 committees. So I am like Jenny's right-hand man on the community impact, and we talked about data last time, and I feel like I lost some people in the room. And while it is about data, it's about telling our story. How awesome would it be if we were able to say, Safety Net as a whole did this, and then celebrate our wins? And so that's what this committee is about. We desperately need more people, and we're excited for more people to be coming on. We have changed our time and location, and Jenny said that it was April 9th in the afternoon, and we were trying to meet in person because that's how she likes, but we will explore a Teams option. But please, please, please join because it's part of telling that story, and telling our story helps us better get people to understand what we're doing so that we can better advocate in the external relations portions and get more members. Like it's all connected. So that's my impassioned speech. You didn't get to hear data from me this time, but if you want to talk data, please come see me.
Awesome. And if you want to join any of those committees, on the back of your agenda is QR codes to join. Crackers. Well, it's supposed to be on the back of your agenda, but I think you're in luck because I think I have a QR code that I can put up on the screen. Maybe. Let's see.
And Aaron, we do have a sign-in up front if someone wanted to old school sign up if they wanted to join a committee like the engagement committee. That's so much fun. They could put their email on that sign-up sheet and then put what committee you would like to join. We could also do it old school that way too.
Or you can, yes, or you can just respond to any alerts and say, hey, I want to be on a committee. We also have affinity groups, which I do have a QR code, and the affinity groups are the groups that meet in certain topic types. So like I work in healthcare, I'm on the healthcare affinity group. We meet and talk about what's happening in the healthcare space, explore problem solving together, share resources, and try to look at collaboration. So we have a number of affinity groups, so I encourage you to follow that QR code and see if there's anywhere you would be a great fit.
Okay, so next on the agenda, we have announcements, but it is about 5 after 1, so we're going to go ahead and go to the panel, and then we'll come back to the announcements after the panel has had their opportunity to share their wisdom with us. So, with that, I don't think I introduced myself at the beginning. I'm Linda Bates. I'm with WellCare of Kentucky, a Community Engagement Coordinator, and I'm the host for the day. And for our panel, we have Lisa Anglin. Lisa Anglin, who is a program manager for substance use disorder and mental health at St. Elizabeth. We have Nancy Eigel Miller with 1 in 5. She is the executive director and founder of 1 in 5. And then Terry Frazier, who is behavioral health community, she's with Sun Behavioral Health, and she is community liaison for them. So thank you guys very much for joining us today. Oh, you all have microphones? Oh, you have one microphone to share. Sorry about that.
Hello.
Okay. So, our topic today is emergency services, and we're going to talk about the different challenges and resources and programming that you all provide to the community. So, with that, this is Nancy, as I said, and Lisa, and Terry. So the first question is, what is driving the need for your services that the community needs to be aware of?
Well, I think that we're all aware that the people that are have mental health illnesses or needs has continued to rise over time, especially after the pandemic. We've seen it rise significantly. Just as an example, we started our organization back in 2010, and our name is 1 in 5. Which indicated that 1 in 5 people struggle with a mental illness. That number now for adults is 1 in 4, and for youth is 1 in 3. So we've seen a significant rise, and I think people are a lot more open to the conversation than they have been in the past, and so the need is very high to do programming in that space.
Hello, I'm Lisa Anglin, and I work with St. Elizabeth Healthcare. And I think probably in 2017 or 18, we had a community member come to the hospital and say he had lost his grandson who had died by suicide, and he said, what are you doing as a healthcare system to respond and to help families who are navigating this murky journey? And so we thought, well, what are we doing? So we created and began the Activating Hope team, which is what I'm representing today. And so what drives that is the increase in mental health concerns. So the Activating Hope team is similar to Safety Net Alliance, where Safety Net Alliance is focused on social determinants of health. Our Activating Hope team is focused on addressing and encouraging mental health wellness as well as suicide prevention. And it's a group of community partners from around the region that come together to address these needs. We also maintain and update regularly a website, the Activating Hope website, which you can find by Googling St. Elizabeth Activating Hope, which has a checklist, an evidence-based programming. It has a checklist of signs and symptoms if you think you may be having a mental health concern, a substance use disorder concern, or someone is having maybe suicidal ideation. There's a checklist that can go through there, and it also has some links to national resources as well as local resources. And so I will say to you also that when you go to that website and review it, if you want your organization or if there's something missing, please let me know that. We'd be glad to update that and improve it. Here you are, Terry.
No worries. Hi, everybody. My name is Terry Frazier, and I work for Sun Behavioral Health. I don't think it's any real secret about the crisis that we face, and I won't just say in America. I'll say that it's all over the world, and I'm pretty confident with saying that. We are an inpatient psychiatric hospital, but we also offer PHP and IOP inside of our hospital. So with Sun, we've been around for a few years, not very long, but there's multiple hospitals. There's one in Kentucky, one in Houston, one in Delaware, one in Columbus, and then we also have an outpatient in Lexington. I think for us, what drives us is the need. It's a supply and demand, essentially, and a lot of people have came into contact with us in one form or another at some point in time, whether that referral comes from the hospital or the sheriff's office or CPS or whoever. We really do try our hardest to keep up with all the demands that our community needs. I think that's it. That's it.
Okay, all right, thank you. And at the end, if anybody has any particular questions, just save them for the end.
Hey, Linda.
Yes.
The pizza is here if you didn't get lunch.
Oh, okay. Pizza's here. Okay, so number 2, feel free to get up, you guys, if you're hungry. What are the primary challenges or barriers currently hindering the effectiveness and impact of your program?
So I started 1 in 5 in 2010 after losing my husband to suicide, and I spent a lot of time just researching what was happening in that space at that time, and really there was very little education that was happening in the prevention area. So we looked at evidence-based programs that existed in the United States, and that's really what we've been doing. Today we work with about 310 schools in 11 counties. We work with about 80 community organizations, and we've just started doing corporate work. I have 17 people that work for me now, and the need is so high. Like, it used to be that somebody could call us up on Monday and we could do the training that week. We're now looking at May and June to do trainings, and sometimes we're even into the next school year. And so it's, I think people are willing to have this conversation more readily now. They really want to know how to prevent mental illness rather than that it's more of a reactive kind of situation as it's been in the past. And it's teaching especially young people protective factors. How do they keep themselves healthy? What are the things that are going to protect their brain? And I think that it's the youth, we say it all the time, the youth are going to change the conversation faster than the adults. They're much more open to the conversation. They're pushing really hard. They're pushing the adults to be more open and to do the programming that they need to do. But the barrier for us is that we're really picky about how we do it. I think historically in this space, it's been very preachy. It's been very scary. People are going to scare you when they're doing the training. That's not our approach to it. Our approach is that we want it to be a very interactive, discussion-based conversation, and that takes a personality. That's a certain person that can really interact with humans and can make them feel comfortable and can get them to talk. And so our biggest barrier is people. And, the thing that we've seen over the last couple of years, which is really fascinating, is most of our people are coming out of the mental health space. So they're therapists or they're social workers or they're teachers, because they don't want to be in the space that they're in anymore, but they still want to do the work in a more positive way. So that's a good thing for us, but it's also really hard. We also take about 6 months to train people. Mike back here in the back, Mike can wave. He can attest to that. He is our Kentucky specialist. And we really spend a lot of time to train our people to get them very confident going into a space. We want them to know all the materials, be able to support people in that space. So that's really the biggest barrier for us as people.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy. I would echo what Nancy's saying. It's connectedness. It's so many folks, and many of you know this already, we all have a very full schedule. And so finding that time to step out of that schedule to connect with others, like we're doing here today, more connectedness, I think that's an issue for us. reaching parents. We have lots of mental health programming happening in community settings or in school settings. We're doing a great job of teaching or instructing teachers and school staff to some degree students, but not in homes. How can we reach those parents? Those parents, like all of us, who have got just a crammed schedule, not only at work, but at home as well. So how can we reach those parents? How can we raise awareness? And I'm just going to say it, after what we've experienced here in Boone County, how can we raise awareness about social media in particular? And how can we build those partnerships between school and parents rather than having that be adversarial? You know, how can we support one another as we're trying to support and help our students? So those are some barriers that we're facing right alongside of every last one of us. I think we're all facing very similar barriers in that regard.
I mean, I have to agree with you guys. I think the biggest issue that we face is people and stigma. The stigma around mental health is still very, very negative. And what we see a lot of the times are the parents aren't on board. We might have a kiddo come to us because they're experiencing suicidal ideation, but the parent says, no, they're not. They're doing this for attention. I can promise you, anytime that anybody says, I don't want to be here anymore, that you need to take it seriously. And I think that is the biggest piece around all of this that we're missing, is that stigma's still there, and that it's up to all of us to work together to remove that stigma away from mental health, because it isn't something that you should be ashamed of ever, and it shouldn't be something that you ever feel judged about by going and getting help for those issues. Again, that's why I think that it's so important for all of us to come together and work together and help to break that stigma away from it.
I would say, to speak to that, probably every one of us, probably not every one of us at some point in our life will face a challenge that will really push us to our limit, and we really would benefit from extra help. There's not one person that's safe from that, I guess, and there's nothing wrong with it. We all need help. We all need help to get through life. It can be really tough. Okay. And then the last question would be, how could local organizations, in your opinion, collaborate together, kind of strengthen that safety net, right? Collaborate more strategically to address any unmet needs and drive sustainable change and supports in the community?
So there are a lot of initiatives that are happening right now in our area. I can really speak to two of them. One is called Hey Cincinnati. It is 14 funders that have come together. There are about 200 community organizations that are at the table. We've been discussing youth mental health for about 2 years now. What does that look like? What are the barriers? What are the programs? What are the things we should be doing? And out of that, there have been a school, a community, and an intervention group that have been created, and then each of those groups is working forward with a project. I'm the co-chair for the school committee, and we're talking about schools of wellness. So we've taken the SAMHSA 8 dimensions of wellness, and we're right now, people are applying to be those. We'll have 8 to 10 schools that we'll be piloting that work with. There'll be funding for each of the schools from the funders to do the work, and then we'll be evaluating that work. The other thing that I think is really exciting, I've been doing this for a while now, and I am nobody knows me, but I'm pretty feisty. And I don't really take no for an answer very often. And I've been pounding on Children's Hospital to do more work in the prevention space. They finally are creating the Mental Health Institute. I actually had dinner last night with the woman who is going to run that institute. She is coming from Boston. She is a very community-oriented person. And so they're really looking at the landscape of the community, what's the work that's being done, and how does children plug into those different areas. A lot of that is probably going to be, you know, doctors are going to get a lot more involved in doing that community education and looking at the research and looking at the work that's being done, what's really working, where is it making a difference, does it make a difference by demographic, all of those kinds of things, which for 1 in 5, we do a fair amount of research, but to do it at that level is prohibitive from a cost standpoint. So bringing children's into that space is huge. And I think that just to look at what those opportunities are and to plug into it where you can, I think that there's a lot of funding that's going into it right now. People are recognizing the importance of it because we're looking at the youth and what's going to happen in the future to our youth. So I think to get involved in any way that you can is extremely important.
Thank you. Oh, Nancy, I'll add right to that. That Hey Cincinnati, what an initiative that is for the entire greater Cincinnati region. And so here in northern Kentucky, our Activating Hope team is serving as a chapter, a Northern Kentucky chapter, working with Hey Cincinnati. Alignment is the name of the game these days when it comes to mental health situations, because there are lots of boiling pots right now happening addressing mental health. St. Elizabeth has just held their mental health summit for the last 2 years. We've got Hey Cincinnati going on. There's a community convener. I mean, there's just a lot. How can we bring these pieces together and streamline the work so that we can be effective rather than having so many different initiatives happening? So we have for our Activating Hope team a core team, 3 of which are associated with the Hey Cincinnati, for the schools, the treatment, as well as for the community partners and caregivers, as well as Larry McNabb, who's usually part of Safety Net Alliance. I don't see him today, but usually he's right with us for suicide prevention, so that they can help inform the direction of Activating Hope. We're also very focused on, and Nancy and I were just talking about this, evidence-based programming. What can we promote and support that has been proven to be effective and helpful, particularly when it comes to our youth and helping to shape those developing minds? So that's the name of the game. Now, the way that we would invite you is anytime you want to come to be part of Activating Hope, certainly the arms are open. Come right on. We'd be glad to have you. If you have a program that would be beneficial to the group that focuses on mental health, suicide prevention across the lifespan, not just for kids, but across the lifespan, please let me know that. I'd be glad to schedule you as a presenter to be able to talk to community partners in one place in a very friendly and welcoming environment. Here you are, Terry. Thank you.
I think what we are doing is a lot of community work, getting out in front of the community. If you guys haven't seen it, we do have a flyer, and I have some extra ones here. We are hosting an event on Monday, the 24th at 6 p.m. at the Boone County Enrichment Center. It's expected to be a pretty significant event. We are bringing up a gentleman. His name is Morgan Marks. He's worked for the Jason Foundation for a very, very, very long time. Son partners with the Jason Foundation, which is about 20 minutes outside of Nashville. So we are opening that up to the community, but not just to the community, to all the providers that want to participate. We've made sure that we have room for everybody at the table, because right now where we're at, there's no time or energy to say, no, you can't sit here. We have to, and everybody has to, learn to work cohesively if we want to be able to give our patients or our clients wraparound services and to be able to support them throughout the lifetime.
I think one thing too, Lisa mentioned Larry McNabb, and he does QPR training, and I'm just sitting here, we're in a church right now, and I think sometimes people think that churches can be immune from that, but QPR does go into churches and they do training. So if you are connected with a church and you'd like to have that training, he would be happy to come and do that.
I just wanted to know what time the event was with the first speaker that she has in Boone County, what time that event is for?
6 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions for the panel today? Just raise your hand if you've got one and we'll come to you.
Hi, thank you so much for such an insightful panel. I know there's a lot going on in youth mental health services, which I think is so needed. I was curious if you know of anything going on with mental health for older adults as well.
I'll start it. I know that there's a PACE group right now that's happening. I don't know the name of that acronym, to be quite frank, but I know that they just have built a building in Florence near the Boone County High School, and it's specifically focused on seniors and mental health for seniors. But if you see me after this meeting, and I'll take your email and I'll send you information about that. Yeah. Do you have more, Terry?
I was going to say PACE.
The same?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Any other questions?
Oh, Nancy.
I was just going to also say, we are actually doing a lot of that training right now in that older population. Our community involvement, probably over the last, 4 months, has done a huge amount of work in that space. So if you're interested, I can talk to you as well.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Nancy.
Linda, I'll say this too.
Okay.
Yesterday I learned, and here's a little quick fact, white men over the age of 60 living alone who don't have a neighbor within 1 mile of their home are at the highest rate of suicide. I just didn't realize that, but learned it yesterday. So there's a quick tip of the day.
Because we don't know how to take care of ourselves.
You know, that's exactly. Yeah, they said they're less connected to services, less likely to get care. You know, yeah. Yeah, there you go, Aaron.
Are there any other questions, any other comments that anybody would like to share? Okay.
It's interesting that you said that about men, because I'm with the Hosea House, and a lot of our folks are homeless, the majority of whom are men. Generally speaking, when we're dealing with someone who you can tell is struggling with mental health, we'll talk about Sun Behavioral, we'll refer them to North Key. But like for our homeless population, no transportation, all of those kinds of things, any suggestion? I mean, we find ourselves making the referral, and we try to give them the resources to the best of our ability, but we're a soup kitchen, as you know, and so any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so at Sun, and a lot of people doesn't know this, with our PHP and our IOP programs, we do offer transportation to and from the IOP and PHP, and that's within a 25-mile radius around Sun. So Sun sits right there in Erlanger, so it's north, south, east, west. As long as it goes within that 25-mile radius, we can pick you up, we can take you home, we'll make sure that you eat while you're at Sun, and you'll get programming all day long.
Can you tell us what PHP and IOP mean?
Yeah, partial hospitalization is PHP, and essentially that is a step down in the level of care. The highest level of care is when you're coming into inpatient for that acute mental health stuff that's going on. Once we can kind of see where your baseline is, or the suicidal or homicidal ideation is gone, or they come out of their psychosis a little bit, that's when we can start to work on and towards dropping them down. Nobody should be in an inpatient acute facility for a very long time. You are going to regress. You should never be in a lockdown facility like that unless you are a danger to your community or yourself, right? So ideally, when you come to Sun, you're there anywhere from 3 to 7 days. That's long end. Our discharge planners have been talking to every single person that is in the Northern Kentucky area about levels of care, and that the next thing that we would recommend is a PHP level of care. That is all-day programming. Essentially, it's like having another job. It is all-day programming. We have therapists that work very closely in the group setting to make sure that they're working on coping skills and making sure that you're connected to resources that you need. You can see our doctors, our psychiatrists while you're in that programming still. We have a pharmacy inside of Sun where we can take you over, we can get your medication for you. The next level of care after PHP, after that partial hospitalization, is IOP, which means that scheduling drops down. So you go from 5 days a week, from 9 to 2:30, to 3 days a week, from 9 to 12-ish. Again, we'll still pick you up, we'll take you home, we'll still make sure you eat lunch with everybody, and you're still getting 3 days a week of programming. Again, it's about the same programming. So it's just those coping skills and how to deal with life and connecting you to those ongoing services. Because we don't want you to leave IOP and you not have an individual therapist and you not have a psychiatrist and you don't have a primary care doctor to go see. We want to make sure that you have all those services when you leave us, that you can continue dropping down levels of care as needed.
I'll say 3 things here. 4, I'll say 4. The first one is, Hosea House, you're so much more than just a soup kitchen. You guys provide so much for so many. Yeah. I've done some work there in the past and just amazing. But at any rate, let me go back to this. And I believe I saw Brianna here. Northern Kentucky Helpline. Anyone can call that helpline to say, hey, I've got a man here before me and this is the issue. And I tell you what, those women will sort that out and they'll connect you to the service that's appropriate and to help you with that.
Are you referring to 988?
It's not the 988.
Okay.
It's the Northern Kentucky Helpline. It's Amanda Peters. There's Brianna, and she'll know the number offhand. I can't call it. Brianna knows it.
It's 859-415-9280, and we operate 8 a.m. to 4:30 Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4:30 on Fridays. We don't operate on the weekends right now, but people can call and leave a voicemail, and Julie is our main phone person. She's incredible. As Lisa said, she's very diligent about getting people connected, and she will check those voicemails. She's very good at following up with people. We don't like to just give a phone number and send them on their way. We like to make sure they actually get what they need. So,
Can you give the number again?
859-415-9280. And I do actually have to leave in just a few minutes, but I'll put some of our stuff on the back table.
I would say next to Safety Net Alliance, this is the most comprehensive resource list that I'm aware of, particularly when it comes to substance use, mental health concerns, that type of thing. Safety Net's resource list may be more comprehensive when it comes to social determinants of health. Aside from that, I will say also the 988 with North Key for suicide intervention, certainly. But then the other thing I want to say to you is St. Elizabeth has a health ministries team. Marlene Fagan leads that. I don't know if she comes to Hosea House or not. I'd be surprised if not. But they do basic care and basic connection to care for individuals, particularly indigent individuals. And then the last one I'm going to say is Laura Rigg, right here in the front, and that is St. Elizabeth's social workers are embedded in every primary care physician office. So if I go to the primary care for sinus infection, but I'm also having depression and I haven't eaten for a couple of days, they're going to have a social worker there that will, as soon as I say, yeah, I feel kind of blue, I'm depressed or whatever, they'll come in and say, hey, what's going on? And to talk with me. And then if I say I haven't eaten for a couple of days, they're going to say, well, hold on, we got a box lunch for you right here. And they're going to hand it to me while I'm sitting there. They're not going to say, hey, come back in a day or two and we'll see if we can round you up a Sam. They'll have it ready to go. The social works that are embedded in those primary care offices, just incredible. What a resource. And Laura knows so much more about that.
We also offer short-term therapy services. Anyone that has a primary care doctor at St. Elizabeth. And we do have transportation as well that we use. So if someone cannot get to the office, the mental health therapy is considered a doctor's office visit. So it can be covered by insurance. And we also have grant funding that can help get the patient to us for the therapy services.
There you go.
Can any of you speak to, I only know about it because I sit at the situation table with the police social workers. Can any of you speak to Tim's Law and how that's impacted, Tim's Law?
Tim's Law?
Mm-hmm. Do you know, or can a police social worker speak to it? Yes, thank you. I think it's an important piece that I've learned about recently, and I think it would be good for all of you to know about.
We did actually, we
we spoke with Kenton County yesterday at our CIT meeting, and I think got some really useful information, so hopefully I can better inform our conversation for Monday. But, so Tim's Law is, it came out in 2017? It's been a while that it was enacted by the judicial folks, but recently, Kenton County has been trying to pilot the program, and basically it acts very similarly to Casey's Law, but is specific to mental illness. At this point, the way that Kenton County is doing it is they are needing referrals to be sent from eastern states specifically, so it's more long-term chronic mental illness. But basically, they get them involved in the court to then mandate treatment services, and there isn't a contempt component, so it's not like they're at risk of going to jail if they're not following those treatment services, but they will then be sent back to residential if they're not following through. We were talking about it with the Campbell County judges yesterday, that we will hopefully be able to reach out to some folks to try and get it started in Campbell County. But yes, are there any specific questions or something you?
Can you just explain what the law is, the involuntary, why it's important?
Yeah, so it is utilized in situations where folks who have severe mental illness, long-term mental illness, who are refusing treatment or are not engaging in the services that are offered to them. It's an involuntary program for them to then participate in those services and get the long-term treatment that they need.
Strictly outpatient.
Strictly outpatient unless, yes. Diagnosed, yes. And it's outpatient services. The only time that it would ever be residential is if they aren't fulfilling the treatment services established by the court system, then they would be sent back to a residential treatment facility. Yeah. Very much like Casey's Law, file the petitions, friends, family, loved ones can certainly do that. You do it through the county attorney's office or the clerks in your court system. So for Kenton County, how I understand they do it is you can just go to the clerk's office down there. They'll get you connected with the county attorney, and then she'll kind of walk you through that process.
So where I see it might interact with all of us is, so you can have an involuntary admittance, but that only lasts for 72 hours, and then the person is released. If we're working with individuals who they themselves have untreated mental illness, or a family member recognizes that they have untreated mental illness, and that is becoming a danger to themselves or to other people, this is an avenue that mental health treatment can be forced upon them, because we know that, just like you were saying, there's still a stigma. Many people just refuse to be treated, or their mental illness tells them that they don't have a mental illness. So certainly not for every case, but I know that the police social workers come across it often as, boy, this person really needs help, but they won't put themselves there themselves. What way do we have to help this person get some assistance to get their life back to thriving again?
More than welcome to reach out to them. If you didn't hear that, yeah. So Kenton County said that you can reach out to them if you do have questions. They said that their pilot program has been very successful. I think they have 4 current cases, and they haven't run into any complications, any issues. The biggest barrier that we are facing in other counties is getting the funding from the programs to then fund their treatment services. So we're trying to kind of troubleshoot how we can go about doing that.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions, or is there anything you wanted to add to any of that? Panel?
I got it.
Thank you. I work for Boone County Schools, and I'm sure other districts are seeing the same thing. So we're seeing some very severe issues with our preschool and primary age students as far as their behavior and undiagnosed mental health needs. But there doesn't seem to be anything out there to assist schools and parents with kids that young. And so I was hoping that maybe you would have some suggestions for us, for
got an
school
immediate-
people and for their parents.
I've got an immediate suggestion for that, and it's the best resource that I know.
So, actually, up to this point, we were doing primarily 6th to 12th grade. And during our strategic planning last year, we decided that we were going to go all the way down to kindergarten. So, right now, I don't have an answer for you today, except for one thing. Sources of Strength is one of our primary programs that we use. They have a curriculum-based program that starts kindergarten up to 6th grade, and it is the best program out there. It's something that you can do on a consistent basis in the classroom. It's teaching protective factors, building resiliency, that type of thing. The state of Kentucky supports Sources of Strength in a big way. So that would be the program that I would recommend. I will say that in the summer, that's what we're going to be working on, to look at other programs that we can do in the fall. So if you want to follow back up with me in the summer, I can give you more recommendations.
Is anybody from Ramey East up here? Ramey East up. So they will work with kids, not necessarily an age limit. I was speaking to a therapist at your guys' event the other night that was there, and she was working with a mom and a 2-year-old. So that surprised me, because you don't hear of very many providers that will see smaller children. It is very hard to diagnose a child that young, first off. Second off, you don't want to misdiagnose and then that child carry that diagnosis throughout its lifetime, when it very well could be anything else. So working with that younger population is very tough. I'm really pushing everybody that I can to implement some kind of play therapy, or hand-pick a therapist that's their forte. It's very hard to find somebody that will do it, but we are pushing. We do know the need. That is one of the bigger needs in Northern Kentucky, is to bring someone here that will be able to work with that younger generation. It is on our radar. It has been talked about, and we would love to see it as well, but I do know that there is a therapist at Ramey East Step that will work with kids, at least 2.
And I'm Chunk.
There's Chunk and there's DCCH, and it's 4. Yeah.
I'll know 2 more that,
What I heard back from Chunk is they will work with students that young.
I have DCCH, it says
so I'll have 2 more to add to that, and one of them is.
DCCH, just looked on their website, says 4 to 64. Chunk, do you know the ages that they said they're comfortable working with?
I can reach back out to Adam Rowland and ask, but I don't off the top of my head, no.
The other 2 programs that I'll know about that I would look at as a school system in particular, and it's online, and the one is Character Strong. It's evidence-based, and it's a program that can be implemented within a school system. I would look at that Character Strong for certain. The other one is Life Skills, Bodvin, B-O-T-V-I-N. It's Life Skills. I know that we've worked with schools in the past who have implemented the Life Skills program very successfully, and it's well received. Character Strong, and then Life Skills is the other.
Okay. If there are any other questions, then go ahead and maybe address those individually at the end of the meeting, as we're getting close to running out of time. So now let's take the next few minutes and give announcements.
Do you want to thank our speakers? Ruth?
Oh, yeah, I guess I could. Thank you very much, you guys. Everybody give them a round of applause. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your connections, and appreciate it very much. So now let's go into announcements, and I'll start since I have the microphone. I wanted to announce, everybody has a table or a flyer on their table for Fighting for Freedom, which is this Saturday. It is a human trafficking awareness event, and it's at Main Street in Alexandria. although the flyer says the registrations ended on yesterday, we're still taking reservations for that. It's from 9 to 4:30. We have two keynote speakers, 2 women giving testimonies, and then 7 different breakout sessions. So it'll be well worth your day. It's hard to give up a Saturday, I know, but it will be well worth your day. And if you have anybody that you are concerned or family is concerned about someone, please encourage them to come because they will learn some very practical tips on how to get help when they are concerned about someone. Thank you.
Linda, I'll take it next. So a lot of people have asked if the Postal Carriers Drive is going on this year. That is the Stamp Out Hunger National Food Drive. It was threatened to maybe go away nationally. It is back. We have heard from our local post offices. There's not a ton of room for extra charities to come in, but on Saturday, May 10th is the day for all of you to leave canned goods at your mailbox. And then your post office will pick those up and take those to one of our, they're all safety net partners actually, so they will go to one of our safety net partners doing food. So please spread that word. Be Concerned social media will put that out. We'll put out an alert as well. On the second fold, Easter is coming up right around the corner, and I know one of the things Be Concerned has not done the best job of for 5 years is maintaining holiday presents outside of Christmas. So Savannah and our team have done a great job, but we are bringing a real Easter program back to Be Concerned on Saturday, April 12th. So Saturday, April 12th, we are having the Easter Bunny. Papa John's is going to serve pizza. We are going to give people Easter baskets. And what I'm proud of is we're going to offer spring family photos for people that need family photos updated. Any of your families that you work with in that program, we're doing Easter baskets from children ages 3 to 12. But if you have families that want to come to that, please just tell them to come to our lobby. The sign-up form is there on a QR code. They just sign up, give us their information, and it runs just like Backpacks and Breakfast does. So they can self-sign up, and then they'll get an email from me giving them all the details. But we do have an Easter program going on as well. So if you have families in need of Easter baskets this year, we are going to do at least 350 as our goal. So that's what I have on that front. Oh, and then Linda and I are representing the safety net in the giving fields. So Linda and I are heading down south to, is it Frankfurt that we're going? Lexington. And we are going,
Louisville for the KPHA conference.
thank you. So we are going to Louisville to talk about the Giving Fields project that we did last year. So you guys know about the Giving Fields for the most part. It's a safety net activity out in Melbourne. We brought it back last year with WellCare support, so we're going down to kind of present on the 8,000 pounds of fresh produce that we grew and the charities it went to. The Giving Fields needs help, though, again this year, and it's not necessarily financial help, but they're really struggling with volunteers. And I am striking out trying to get volunteers that want to go work on the farm. So if you and your personal network or work network have anyone that you think would be interested in your church group, your agency, it is Good Team Building Days. Doug and Sheila Bray are the owners of the farm, and they are long-term supporters of most of our agencies inside this room. But they said they are really struggling with as volunteers have gotten older. We can't replace the human capital out there at the farm to run it. So the farm is in jeopardy of not running this year, but it's because it doesn't have enough volunteers. And if there's anyone in this room that could help me try to garner volunteer support for that, that's going to be the linchpin to keep it going. Rosemary? So we're working on that, and I know we're not supposed to talk about funding, but if anybody in this room has contacts to funders that may be willing to pilot a program where we can provide summer internships for local Northern Kentucky high school students so they don't have to go work at the pool or they don't have to go work at Kroger or somewhere else, I think there's a great capacity in our region to work with a funder to get some safety net scholarships so that we could get some high school students in our agencies getting exposed to what we do, which is good for their resume, good for our futures, and then also provide for opportunities like this where we've got a program that's going to die without people running it, and if we had a funder that funded that part of internship, it would be a great experience for agriculture, social service, and let's be honest, really hard work for a generation that probably needs to do a little really hard work, and I would love to pursue that. They do, and they need community service hours, and that's why I thought it might be nice to grow those into internships. So if we've had some of our really good high schoolers, we get them from Notre Dame right down the hill or Cov-Cath, it would just really make sense for our team at Be Concerned to be able to offer some $10 an hour jobs to those students over the summer so they can stay connected to us, and hopefully 6 years later when they graduate school, they come back to want to work for one of us.
Do we have a question here for you, Andy?
I'm talking sophomores.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do they accept volunteers of just like families, or does it have to be like a big organization?
Nope. So right now they're looking for people from individuals up to big groups. At this point, it's bodies needed to run. So the Brays are meeting with what they call the rent-a-row family. So those are some families who have financially sponsored the fields and they go work their one row. I will get feedback from Doug at the end of the week there, but I do know that the volunteers are what they need the most, and I think they would take an individual, they would take a family, they would take a team. I don't think there's any too little is the problem.
Okay. Thank you for lunch, by the way. It was delicious. Aaron, I had a question for you regarding the universal intake referral system pilot. So are you familiar with KY Next?
Yes.
Okay, so I was really excited about that whole rollout, and
Yes, we were
it's
too.
been very cumbersome to use, in my
Yes.
opinion. So can you just expand a little bit, talk a little bit how this is different, or?
Yes.
Thank you.
So we as a safety net were very supportive of Connect. We worked very hard to get everybody on Connect, and Connect did not live up to its promises of what it could do. And so Connect still does exist. You can still send referrals through Connect and give basic demographic information through that to go to another agency. What you can't do is really see what happens with that very well after it gets there. And it still can be burdensome. The big difference on this is, one, it's extreme. The executive committee has all sat through showing us how this works. It is very customizable, so what we'll end up doing is we'll create a closed group that's called the safety net, and then what it does is, I could go on for this for days, and we'll probably end up having a thing, but what it does is it allows customization at the organization level, customization at the group level, and then you can even take it down into smaller subgroups. And what that allows you to do is share more information across agencies than what Connect allows you to do, so that we can reduce that burden. Things like sharing proof of income, proof of residency, even some basic intake questions that you might need to ask. We can do that when they sit down. Our ultimate dream, I'll tell you what the end goal dream is. The end goal dream is somebody walks into any one of our agencies, they sit down, they go through the universal intake form, and while they're sitting in front of them, they can get them signed up for services at another agency. That's the ultimate dream of where we want to go, so that you have single point of entry at any one of our agencies you walk into. That's where we want to get in Northern Kentucky. This system will allow us to eventually get there. It's going to take steps. And so what this does that Connect doesn't is it allows customization to put the universal intake form in, allows more shared data across organizations, it allows individualized control across organizations. It also has, and this is a really big deal for a lot of us, it allows intake without logging into the system. And so what can happen is, let's use St. Vincent de Paul as an example. If you're familiar with their model, they're very volunteer-based. They go out to individuals' homes. Well, you don't necessarily want them logging into the system to see all the stuff. What you want them doing is doing the universal intake and sending the referrals. So there can be an external web address that they'll go and use, put that person into the system, that will get sent out, and then the employees of St. Vincent de Paul can go and then track what's happening with that referral and see where that person ends up going. So it's a lot more customization, it's a lot more control, it has the background API keys, it accounts for using volunteers, it accounts for different access levels. One of the problems with Connect is just getting on the system, and then getting logged into the system is also a headache. And so this offers multiple ways around that and different access levels for individuals within organizations. So just a lot more data that can be shared, a lot simpler to use, a lot more customization, and a lot more levels of usage based on what's happening in individual organizations. Actually, that might be a great idea. We will be in contact. Can you give me your card before you leave? That'd be great. So the pilot will hopefully get up. We were hoping by the end of this month, but it's not going to happen. We're hoping the pilot gets launched by mid-year. If it gets launched by mid-year, then we can put the 6-month. And let me tell you the reason why we're doing a pilot first. We'll be, even with this pilot, we'll be the largest group that's going to start using this software. And so we want to dive into it with some really committed organizations that are really going to invest in figuring out when does this work, when doesn't it work, what more do we need to do? We want to figure out what's the legal jargon that we need without having everybody jump on board all together. So I would say, like, if we can get it rolled out more universally by 2026, that will be a big win for us, and that's what we'd like to see. We're also asking the United Way to give the SafeNet a lot of money so that we can do this, because we realize it's going to need a lot of support. Individual agencies are going to need customizations that go into it. So this is something, if we can do this, I think Northern Kentucky will be leaps and bounds ahead of most regions in terms of the level of collaboration and cooperation we can have.
Are there any other questions regarding that? Any other announcements? I do have one, and this would probably apply to the majority of the people in this room. There's a social worker appreciation breakfast on March 25th from 7 to 8:30 at 47 Cavalier Boulevard, and this is hosted by the Senior Community Care of Northern Kentucky, the PACE program. So if anybody would like more information, there's a flyer on that. But go be appreciated, social workers. Does anybody else have any announcement?
LIHEAP was extended to the end of the month. Vicki doesn't like to use a microphone.
Tomorrow, if you want to rearrange your plans, trauma-informed care, we have a 9 to 4 all-day trauma-informed care training over at the Campbell County Library in Newport. You will be provided snacks and pizza and a robust information session. It's going to be hosted by FNC. It's part of our credential. So if you want to rearrange your plans, I know I have many meetings tomorrow, but I'd love to just do it instead. So if you want to do that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, well then thank you for coming. We had a really great meeting. Just please make sure you clean up behind yourself, and thanks for coming. We'll see you next month.